All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a real-world cyber attack step by meticulous step. We're going to follow the breadcrumbs from one single, seemingly harmless click, all the way to a full-blown ransomware crisis that brought an entire company to its knees. So it really all boils down to this one question, doesn't it? I mean, how is it even possible? It sounds almost unbelievable. But the story we're about to walk through is the exact answer, showing just how these attackers turn a tiny deception into a complete catastrophe. Think of this as the 6-act story of a digital heist. We'll start with the bait, that's the deceptive download. Then we'll meet the silent intruder as they're lying in wait. We'll watch them spread across the network, steal the crown jewels, and then unleash the final ransomware strike. And maybe most importantly, we'll dig into the lessons from the breach. Every story's got to have a beginning, right? And for this company, the nightmare started with something super normal. An employee just trying to do their job, downloading an application they thought they needed. Now this is where it gets really clever. It's a classic Trojan horse attack. The user downloads the file, and a legitimate, real Zoom installer actually runs. To them, everything looks completely fine. But while they're watching that little progress bar, a nasty piece of malware called SectopRAT is secretly installing itself in the background. The user has absolutely no idea they've just swung the front door wide open. So after that initial infection, you'd probably expect all hell to break loose, right? Alarms blaring, maybe files getting corrupted. Nope. Instead, there was silence. And honestly, that silence is one of the most terrifying parts of this whole story. 9 days. For 9 full days, that malicious software just sat there, dormant. In the cybersecurity world, this is what we call dwell time, and it's not an accident. It's a critical part of the attack. See, the longer they can hide inside the walls, the more they can learn before they make their move. This timeline just perfectly illustrates the attacker's patience. Think about it like this. It's like a burglar breaks into a house, but instead of grabbing the TV and running, he hides in the attic for over a week, learning the family schedule, figuring out where everything is, just waiting for that perfect moment to strike. And then, on day 9, the intruder woke up. The silent waiting period was officially over, and the act of assault began. It was time for the attackers to move from that one infected computer and start taking over the entire network. And believe me, they came prepared with a pretty sophisticated toolkit. They deployed something called Cobalt Strike. Think of it like a set of digital skeleton keys, letting them open pretty much any door they find. They used Brute Rattle as a kind of military-grade comm system to coordinate everything, and then they set up Q-Door, which is basically a secret tunnel to sneak their traffic in and out without being seen. Now, this wasn't just random smashing and grabbing. No, this was a calculated reconnaissance mission. Using the system's own built-in commands to avoid suspicion, they started mapping out the entire network. And what were they looking for? The digital crown jewels, the domain controllers, the backup servers, basically the keys to the entire kingdom. Okay, this is where a really key tactic in modern attacks comes into play. Before locking anything down, the attackers had a whole other goal in mind: steal the company's most sensitive data. It's a nasty strategy, and it's called double extortion. Their process was just surgical. They used their secret tunnel to connect right to a file server. Then, using that server's own web browser, which is brilliant, they downloaded a totally common and legitimate tool, WinRAR. They used it to package up sensitive files into neat little archives and then uploaded them to another legit cloud service called BubbleUp, letting them blend right in with normal network traffic. And they weren't just grabbing random stuff. They managed to exfiltrate nearly a gigabyte of data. This is the whole idea behind double extortion. First, they steal your data and threaten to leak it. Then, they prepare for the final blow. So, with the data stolen and the network fully mapped out, the time for being quiet was over. The attackers were ready to detonate the bomb they had spent the last 9 days carefully building. And this is where speed becomes the ultimate weapon. Using another legitimate system administration tool called PsExec, they launched the BlackSuit Ransomware payload across the entire environment, all at once. In just a matter of minutes, the company's digital operations came to a screeching, grinding halt. BlackSuit is designed for one thing: maximum damage. The very first thing it does is delete all the system's shadow copies. You know, those quick restore backups. With that safety net gone, it then encrypts all the local files, making them totally useless. And finally, on every single machine, it leaves its calling card. This is the message that greeted every single employee. A simple, terrifying note that just confirmed the absolute worst. The company's data was officially being held hostage, and the clock was ticking. You know, the attack itself is a chilling story, but the most important part is really understanding what it teaches us. So what can we actually learn from this company's 9-day nightmare? This slide just captures the dual nature of this attack perfectly. The initial intrusion was a marathon of patience, playing out over 194 hours. But the final, active phase, that was an all-out sprint, taking less than 24 hours from the first move to total lockdown. So, what does this all mean? Well, here are the really key takeaways. First, one single click is truly all it takes. Second, that silent dwell time isn't a bug, it's a weapon. Third, attackers don't just encrypt your data anymore. They steal it first. And finally, and this is a big one, they love using legitimate tools because it helps them blend in, flying right under the radar of security software that's looking for known bad stuff. Ultimately, this whole breakdown leaves us with one final and kind of sobering thought. For over 9 days, 194 hours, this company had a silent intruder just sitting in its network before the final strike. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do you know what's happening on your network right now?